What's good, everybody? You know what time it is? It's time for Elevated Vibes right here on Intellectual Radio. Let me get y'all the number if you want to jump into this conversation that's about to happen. 708-223-8953. Or, as always, everybody, you could hit us up on Facebook Live. Now, everybody, before I get into this conversation, I'd like to introduce, because you know here at Elevated Vibes, we love to have royalty to sit amongst us. All right. So amongst me right now, I got two kings, everybody. Avion and Mr. Tim Evans. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. Of course, not a problem. Now, everybody, let's get into this. All right. We've always had this debate on reparations for African Americans, which it shouldn't be in a debate because, my God, don't we deserve it? But now, everybody, you have these narcissistic Republicans that want to put a little mess in the mix. I'm speaking on the candidate for senator coming out of Ohio. His name is Bernie Moreno. And I'm also speaking about Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. And to even add to the foot somebody that we all should know who got his job from an African-American woman, pretty much. Dr. Phil. All right. Now I'm going to break down what these people are doing, what they are saying, and everything else, and then we're going to get into it. All right. You had Mr. Robinson. He decided to say, because he wants, and this is one of the main things, Dr. Phil wants, of course, more people to pay attention to him as usual. He was always narcissistic. I always screw up on that word, everybody. He was always that way since the beginning. But once again, he got his job from an African-American woman. We all know who. Now, back to Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson said in front of his Republican people, or whatever you want to call it, right wingers, that African Americans do not deserve reparations. Actually, we owe our ancestors and so forth, going from the civil rights movement and the slaves themselves. And then we'll also talk about Mr. Bernie Moreno, where he said that if African Americans deserve these reparations, then the soldiers who freed them in the Civil War deserve reparations as well. Gentlemen, real quick, I'd like for you to touch on any of these three people.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
Talk to me.
Do you think that he would go for a 1-for-1?
1-for-1 as of what?
Okay. Say that we were able to accept the premise that these soldiers deserve reparations. Do you think that if we allow for the soldiers to get reparations, that he would then agree to have African Americans in this country get reparations? Do you think that he would accept that trade?
Well, first off, this trade could not happen. I believe, and I think many others probably will too. This trade could not happen until African Americans get their just due. Because if you sit back and you look at it, you have so many other groups who, and they deserved it, they've gotten reparations because they've been wrong throughout history. Mm-hmm. You can go from the Japanese that had received reparations because of the concentration camps that they were here in America. Okay. You also have the Haitians who had to pay the French, which Lord knows, I don't know how that went, but they had to pay the French. And this is why Haiti is so poor today. All right. And then there was also many other groups, some more well-known. I mean, the Jewish people got reparations for what happened in World War II. So the thing is, first and foremost, as African Americans, we deserve these reparations, and we deserve them. God knows how long ago. All right. Once that is done, that is in place, people got what they deserve. Then we can speak on some of these Civil War soldiers. Now, some of these same things out of the Civil War, you had slave owners who received reparations. The owners received reparations. They got $300 for each slave they freed. Now we all know some of these plantations had hundreds, if not thousands, of slaves. You got $300 a head in 1865.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So until we can get what we deserve, then we can touch on that subject and go from there. I mean, is it possible after that? Yeah.
You know, can I even build off of that one?
On.
What in his 1-for-1 idea, there was also black Union soldiers.
Of course.
So in what he's saying about the soldiers need to get reparations first, does he include the black soldiers too? Or is it just the white soldiers? You know, that'd be a pretty hard thing to decipher through.
And they will probably fight that because then they'll be double dipping.
I mean,
if you think about it.
Double dipping and hypocrisy. You know, how are you going to say, okay, we're going to deal out reparations for these white soldiers because it's the trendy thing to say in 2023, but you still got people that were slaves in the South that joined the Union forces to fight. You know what I mean? And so do they get reparations too? Did they get the pensions that the Union soldiers, the white Union soldiers got during that time? You know, there's a lot of things that's up in the air right now.
Let me add to what you just said with the pensions. Guess who also got pensions in that time?
Who?
The Confederate soldiers. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on.
Even the Confederate. So there's a lot up in the air. That statement that Moreno made, it's just, I feel like he said that out of ignorance, but also to stir up controversy among the populace with who will be voting in this election for him. And it was a strategic move, and a lot of people are going to eat that up. Were you going to say something?
Exactly. Yeah, he definitely threw that out there as red meat for his base. And you know, I don't think that he has any notion that this would even pass. You know what I mean? It's like a, I don't know, like a bomb, you know, that he throws out there just to see what'll happen, maybe to get attention. So yeah, he's definitely disingenuous in his remark. That's for sure.
And see, one of the problems with that same remark, though, it gives these who do not want to give us anything, it gives them fuel. It gives them ammunition that it shouldn't be there in the first place.
It's just so funny. Like this is a funny statement. Why do the soldiers even need reparations? They got paid. There were soldiers back in the time they were doing. You said that before we even started. You said they're soldiers. They did their job. Why are we talking about them getting reparations? I can see the slaves that fought, that joined the Union, them getting reparations because they were formerly enslaved. Well, I guess it was formerly back then, but they were enslaved.
Yeah,
they were enslaved. So I mean, I understand them getting reparations. But white soldiers getting reparations, it doesn't make sense. Why did you get reparations for doing the job that you had to do and then not being a slave during that time period?
Right.
Doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's just a political move. What state is he from again? I forgot.
Ohio.
Man. Political.
Interesting fact also is that most of the people, or I would say a big percentage of the people who fought on the Union side, they were immigrants. They were, a group of them, a percentage were African Americans, free African Americans. They had a lot of people who, you know what, now I are getting thrown into the military. You got your poor people, you got your immigrants. The same people that's in the military now are the people who they pushed to be in the military back then. It hasn't changed at all. The same demographic. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The same demographic. So you didn't have your rich elites join the fight. You know what I mean? They stayed up north. It wasn't them that were trying to free the slave, so to speak. And
Right. They sit back, drink their coffee and wine.
Right. Yeah, go down there and fight for us. Fight for what we want.
Man. And let me know if we're moving too fast. Like,
come on,
just let us know, because that brings me into like the person you said out. I think it was North Carolina.
Yes, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson.
Mark Robinson. I watched that video before I came in here too.
Okay.
I ain't watch it all week. I watched it today before I came in here. I was appalled. I watched the video.
I mean, he has a lot of pull down there in North Carolina. He has a lot of pull. He's running for to be governor now, and I think he's leading in the polls. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Why did you say he had like a lot of pull?
He has a lot of pull that people are gathering around him, because not only what he said there about reparations, but there's a lot of things that he spoke about going against LGBT. There was a few other things that he put out there that the people are rallying around him.
Oh, okay. I think he's a really strong speaker, and he could make some topics sound very, very important. And it has like a double meaning. You only see the first meaning, but you don't see the second meaning behind it, right? And so what he was saying in that video was, Black people, we should be ashamed for asking for reparations.
Yes, he did.
We owe reparations
to America.
To I don't know who he said we owe reparations.
He was saying that we owe reparations to those who, like, for example, the example he used, who crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and then he misconstrued the whole story, because he was saying that they were carrying the American flag going across that bridge. They weren't.
What were they carrying?
Nothing. They were locked hand in hand, going across that bridge. There was no American flags out there.
Man, he's a character. He's a character. He made it seem like, I agree with what he's meaning, but it's in bad taste, and it's not conveying the right message. He says basically, Black people, you owe you. Don't wait for nobody to give you reparations. At least that's what I'm getting for what he's saying, even if that's not what he means. But what he's saying essentially is, you don't deserve a thing. You got to go get it yourself.
Yeah, he goes under that old adage from a lot of right wingers, Republicans, and all that. That you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Wow.
And go, yeah.
Wow.
Once again, not looking and seeing that everybody out here who made something of themselves, they got help from somewhere.
That too.
Yeah.
But it gets so mind-boggling when you think so many people have, one, gotten help from other black people, have gotten help from other Black people, and two, they've pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Hate that term though.
Yeah,
but
I do too.
They've done that.
That's their adage.
What the white people told us to do, we've done that, right? But every single time we've done it, we've been the buildings burnt down, the records burned, the buildings bombed, the people killed in mass murders. Our bootstraps was pulled up long ago. But then they came and burned it down because they was like, oh man, they're getting too economically independent. If they get economically independent, they won't depend on us for everything they need. We need to do something. We need to do something drastic.
That's true.
That's what they did. I was gonna say something that was gonna rock the boat too much, but I'm gonna keep that back. I'm gonna keep that one back.
Mean, there's nothing wrong with rocking. Let's just not sink the boat, bro.
Nah, I was gonna sink it. Go ahead. What do you think?
Well, I really don't take that guy seriously. I don't think that he believes in what he's saying. Like I said, I think that this guy is, being disingenuous. He's already the lieutenant governor
Yes.
of North Carolina.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't understand the mentality of the people who he's trying to connect. Who do you all think he's trying to connect
Well,
with?
both of them are Trumpers. Both of them are.
So they're going after lower income white folks down there.
I wouldn't.
Less educated.
Less educated. I wouldn't even say just white folk. I'd say the moderate and the right wing person down south. Honestly.
Even African Americans.
Even there's African Americans that vibe with that. They are down.
They are
with that vernacular and that way of thinking. So I think he's going for people who are moderate and towards the right, that think that way, that want to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, who don't believe in getting free handouts from America, and they want to see America prosper. But the whole conception of what it means to be American and prosper in the American dream is so convoluted. Nobody really knows the true essence of what that really means. And so now it's just like we're chasing pictures on a wall that anybody, any leader in the community puts on the wall. They say this is the American dream, or this is what America is, and this is how we need to follow it, and that's who we're following. So that's basically what the concept of the situation that we're facing today.
All right, let me remind y'all that the phone lines are open if you want to join the conversation. The number is 708-223-8953. Okay, gentlemen, check it out. I'm going to throw a couple things at you. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, there's always in this reparations debate some of the excuses that are out there, and there are excuses in my book. All right. They say it's an impossible place to put a monetary value on slavery. Your thoughts?
I think that the people who say that haven't thought about it enough. I've heard of people coming up with different ways to actually repay the African American community. Besides, giving out checks, I don't think anybody is seriously thinking about doing it that way. But if they were to fund more of the things that we need socially, educationally, especially in like higher education and high schools, you know what I mean? If they were to, contribute more into that, I think that would go a long way into making some kind of reparations that I think they can accept, and definitely we could also,
Now, also, too, just not to cut you off, but it was something that you just said. You spoke about the different ways that they can pay back the reparations and all that. There was one professor coming out of Duke University who came up with a plan that would use, and I know that our debt in this country is pretty high, but still, it would be able to give a monetary value to African American families here in this country. Okay. Now, and that ties to that Dr. Phil that I spoke about, because he was on Dr. Phil. He was saying that with 14 billion, you can pay every family in this country, and I think it comes out to about $300,000, somewhere in that range, which would shorten that generational wealth gap that is out here now, that we all have been felt. Now, of course, Dr. Phil cut them down, saying that it's idiotic, that it wouldn't work, and that it would be a complete disaster. Give me your thoughts, especially you, Avion.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's enough. I think 14 billion is an undercut. You got to think about how long people was in slavery. I don't know what he itemized in that bill of 14 billion, but you got to take into account the years that people was in slavery. You got to take into account how much people suffered, which I don't know about you, but if you suffer, like if somebody's just beating you for your whole life, I mean, you can't put a price on that and be like, all right, we're good. You know what I mean? 14 billion. I don't think 14 billion is enough.
All right.
I would say America don't have enough money to pay us reparations, and that's what got everybody up in arms. Is like, if we were to even consider it, it'll be somewhere in the trillions above the U.S. national debt as it is. And so I don't think people really have the money to put it where their mouth is.
This is the one I play devil's advocate
Go
a little
ahead.
bit.
Yeah.
All right, come on with it.
So if you give a lot of families, would you say $300,000?
Yeah,
Correct.
well, something
Now,
that's
we're gonna pour that money right back into the economy fast.
Right.
Most people will pour that money back very fast, and it's gonna be gone. That money is gonna be gone forever. You might have some people, open up businesses, probably a lot, but how many people know how to run a business? So without the education to go behind that money, or some kind of long-term strategy, that money is going to go right into Walmart. That money is going right into the
Okay.
outlets,
Right
But
back.
to
what
the
if-
Nikes and
Right
everything else. You know,
what if, and I agree on a lot of points of that, okay? But what if it was given out over a certain time, and what if it was given out over a certain time, which would give people a chance to have more financial knowledge on what they need to do?
Would it be taxed?
Good question.
All right, that's the first one.
Good question.
Will America tax it?
taking half the taxes,
Right. And then the second
no.
part, I feel like if all of that money were to be dealt out, even if it was dealt out over time, that'll cause inflation in the country, right? And then the money will be rendered, it'll just give us less spending power than we already have today. So it's a conundrum with thinking about, can we actually do reparations and give Black people money for all those years? It's like, as soon as you start printing that much money without the resources to back it, we already on a fiat currency. So if we do that, our spending power is going down the drain as we get more money. So it's like we're not even getting money, and then we also we have what my man said. He said it's gonna go straight back into the corporations because we don't know a lot about financial literacy, because over time that was something that was taken out of our communities.
You know what I like to see?
Talk to me.
In actuality, I would like to see a link back to Africa some kind of way. You know what I mean? If they gave us that much money into the African American community, I want them to set up some kind of the government, with the government's help.
Right.
I want them to set up some kind of link from African Americans back to Africa, because that whole network needs to be repaired.
Right.
I think. You know what I mean?
I agree that network definitely needs to be repaired, but it's going to take more than the financial side to repair it. Yes, would that be a big step and a big help?
Definitely.
Yes, without a doubt. But it's so much of a rift that's even socially right now that, along with that has to, do some repairing as well, which I hope and I pray personally that gets on the ball more than what it is. I mean, on some levels it is, but it needs to be a lot more, because you do have a lot of what they call it, repats that folks is moving to Ghana, the Gabon, and a couple other places. But it needs to be a little more than that, so that the division that is there, and we might talk about that in another show, y'all, but the division that is there can stop, and we can heal some old wounds.
I was gonna say, how do you even figure out who to go to? Like, what country to go to? Like, we don't know where we come from.
Well, you can do a DNA test. I actually did a DNA test.
Really?
And you can trace back pretty accurately where you started, where your ancestors started from,
What DNA test did you take?
I think I did like what is it? 3 and Me
I
or
think
something
that's the
like
one
that.
that takes you even to the level of the tribes. That
Yeah.
right? Am I correct?
It takes you far. It takes you way back. Yeah.
I'm right, and I think that's the one because I know the other one people got real sketchy of it, but a lot of us
Right.
didn't know, on how they were using it until now. You know that you could turn around and use that, and a cousin of yours or somebody
Right.
down the line is about to spend some time in prison because of something they may have done. Which but still,
Don't.
I actually found some people in my family that I didn't even know who were in my family, and they were like really close.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some family secrets. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
Oh, man.
you can find out a lot of stuff.
I was
So-
gonna say, don't kill me, but I was watching a TikTok video. I know TikTok, bro. I was watching the TikTok that said something along the line. It was a person that worked with one of these DNA testing centers, and they was talking about how it's not super accurate in how they tell you where you come from. And I forgot what they said, how they test, but it's super generic and where they like locate you in the world or your ancestors through your genealogy. So I don't know. Let me look through that, and I'll get back to you on that after the show.
Yeah.
But just to put that on the radar, I ain't saying it's not accurate.
No, you can tell that it's not like 100%. They give you generalizations, that's for sure.
Right.
But they pinpoint it. It's not all over the whole continent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's in a certain area between three countries. They got some European stuff over there.
You got some European?
Yeah, look, I'm light skinned. Of course, I got a little European.
Oh, you got some European in you, man?
Yeah, a little bit. Shoot. I think we all do a little bit.
The beautiful things that the conversation brings out. But hey, everybody, we're going to take a quick musical break and we'll be right back. This is Elevated Vibes on IntellectualRadio.com. All right, y'all, we are back. This is Elevated Vibes on Intellectual Radio, our iHeart radio station. Everybody, we speaking on the narcissistic Republicans and the debate on reparations. All right, gentlemen, check it out. There was another mentioned issue that there would be a problem with giving reparations to African Americans because how would you know the descendants of slaves and folks that just came from the descendants folks that just came from Africa after slavery? And you would not know much of the difference, so they feel that they'll be giving reparations to the wrong people. Your thoughts?
Wow. Don't they already give money to people who come here from Africa to get started?
Well, I know it may be Africa as well. I know there's always been talk from some that was from the Middle East. I don't know how true that is, but I think it is some type of a stipend altogether that's given.
Right.
But what you thinking?
I feel like there's always a record that you can go back on because the white slave owners treated the slaves as property. So with your property, you have records on all of it so that you know where it's at and what you own. So I'm pretty sure that there were some records that we have in America. Like you didn't destroy everything in every state.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
I feel like
there is something somewhere is what you're saying.
There's something to go off of, and they're just trying to push it off as there is no way to tell.
Okay. All right. Your thoughts, Tim?
I think if they start giving money away to these families who, for reparations, I think they shouldn't even care. It doesn't matter. Just give every black family money, And I say that because they live in the same areas. It doesn't matter if they came from Africa or another country or they were, born in the United States. They're going to stay in the same area. They'll look at the same way. When they go into a store, you're going to get, followed and the police going to treat you the same way. So, hey, they just get wrapped up in the money with us. You know what I mean? I don't think there should be any kind of differentiation between the two groups.
How do you delineate between people who are like 100% African that was in American chattel slavery and like people that like have a lot of white mixed in them, like mixed race babies, but are more on the side of passing? Do they get the same stipend, the same check because they have black in them, or do they get passed up?
I would give them money also.
Well, if anything too as well, because as we just spoke about, there are different records, like you was just saying. All right. If possible, since it's such an issue, I think folks probably wouldn't mind if, folks will go back in the records from the parents to the grandparents and see who's who and what's what, because it should be something somewhere. And then, you throw the proof out there. That should be it.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think America loves throwing money away. They love giving money away. It's just who they want to give to. So if you're talking about a huge corporation, they will love to give you money. Love it. They're not saying one thing about, where's this money going to or how much. They love giving money away.
Right.
So I'm not worried about them giving money to, if you look white, but you got a little African American, African blood in you. Hey, get some money. You know what I mean? Because if we're talking about the military can ask for like $1 trillion. And they would vote on it they will vote on it tomorrow. Here, please take more. You don't want any more? You don't want any more airplanes? They don't care. So, when we're talking about giving, if they're going to start giving money, I have no question. Just give money away. Just give it. Right. Give the reparations away if you're going to do it. Don't half-ass it. You know what I mean? So.
All right. Well, let's touch on another thing since we're speaking on the money end of things. All right. We already know, most of us know that if we don't raise the debt ceiling by, I think it's June 1st, that we go into default, something of that sort. Now, hypothetically, if this was already done, and just as you spoke before on folks would be giving, going to Walmart and all that, buying this and buying that, do we not feel that, that could have solved some of our national debt problem?
Oh, like putting the money in the economy?
Well, yeah, of course, so they're going to put the money in the economy. But I'm just saying, would that not have solved some problems already if we already had received the reparations that we deserve?
I don't think that would have solved anything. Like I said, we still on the fiat currency, and I don't think this has.
Speak a little more on that fiat currency, because that's
Right.
something that I think a lot of folks should know and understand. I know a little bit about it, but I know you, finance guy.
Oh my. My knowledge done waned a little bit, but what it means is our currency, the American dollar, isn't backed by anything. Like some back in the days, like 1930s or before the 1930s, our dollar was backed by
the gold standard.
Right. The
and
standard
we've been off
was
of it for a while.
gold bar, the dollar. You know what I mean? That's what gives our money worth. And as long as we have gold in reserves and you can exchange your dollar for that gold, your money was worth something. But when the Bretton Woods agreement came up, we depegged our dollar from the gold so that we can print more money that we needed to satisfy debts and spend in areas that we needed to spend on. So once we did that, we started going wild, and there was a whole bunch of currencies that were pegged to our dollar because we were the reserve currency of the world. That just means that we could transact in any country with our money. All right. So with that being said, coming back to the original thought, if we would have stimulated the economy with reparations, I don't think that would solve our debt crisis, because
would it bring it closer though?
I don't even think it'll bring it closer at all, because we still have a fiat currency that loses value every time we print money.
Okay.
And we have always been printing money. So we have always been losing value. And that's part of the reason why the BRICS nations dropped the American dollar. They was like, we're not going to keep playing this game with you. You keep printing money and then lowering the amount of money that we can spend in our countries. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, it would not have solved the situation anywhere close at all.
All right. Now I'm about to put both of you gentlemen on the hot seat for a second. All right. Now, imagine if you were running against Bernie Moreno.
Right.
You know what he's talking about. You know what he's about. If you're in a debate against him, what would be the one line that you would say off the top of your head that you know you done spanked him? Just, that one hitter quitter. Come on with it, Tim. Let me hear you.
Well, if I had to go against them, I would. Well, you know what? Actually, we're not going for the same audience, so I would say the opposite of what he's saying.
All right.
I would say the exact opposite of what he's talking
about. All right.
About.
It's past that primary time. It's the general election.
Okay.
All right. Now, you want this Senate seat. You want it. You got a big backing behind you. He has a backing behind him. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure that this man don't get no further. And that to help your constituents, your people, your family, because you see what he's about. Mm-hmm. What do you say? What do you do? What do you know that it will hit him kind of rough and he got to come back?
Well, actually, I would try to go hard. I would call him a liar. And I would try to poke holes in his argument. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's saying that we should give reparations to the United States. Is that what he was saying?
No, he was saying Now you're thinking of Mr. Robinson, Mark Robinson. No, he was the one that was saying that the Civil War soldiers who freed the slaves deserve reparations as well.
Okay, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. I would definitely. I would try to appeal to the logic of the voters,
Okay.
especially he's down in.
He's the one in Ohio.
He's in Ohio.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a lot of people in the military. They know that's not going to happen. I would definitely. I know it's kind of hard these days, but I would try to appeal to the logic of the voters, and I would just say, you know how stupid that sounds, and I would try to make them look stupid any chance we got on stage with each other, and point out the fact that he knows that soldiers. The military does not work like that. You do not get extra money for helping somebody out that you really don't want to help. You know what I mean?
All right.
That's what I would do.
All right, Avion, talk to me.
I'm gonna whoop him. I'm gonna be like, all right, so you say that the white soldiers deserve reparations, and then I'll say the same thing we said in the beginning. What about the black soldiers that fought? All right, do they deserve reparations? And if he agrees that the black soldiers deserve reparations, I'm asking why. Why do black soldiers deserve reparations that fought in the Union Army? Because you know they came from the South. They were once slaves. Why do they deserve reparations? And he's gonna freeze. He's gonna freeze. I'm telling you now, he's gonna choke up a little bit. He might say something smart, but then once he says that, I'm gonna be like, because if you agree that the since the soldiers are getting reparations, the white ones, and that the black soldiers that fought in the Union Army needs reparations too, then you also indirectly agree that black slaves in the South deserve reparations, right? Because of the fact that they were in that environment and they came up here to help the North win a battle that they scapegoated the guys of freeing the slaves. That battle wasn't even fought over slaves. They just said Abraham Lincoln just said that so that he could win his term to be the president again. What the battle was actually fought over was so the South didn't secede from the nation. And to go even deeper into that, okay, to go
I already know what you're on, but come on.
That battle was fought so that the South didn't overcome the North. That's wild. That's wild. The reason they fought that war was so that the South didn't beat the North, because the South had everything that they needed. They had the crops, they had the people that they controlled, they had free labor. The South would have took over the United States.
But we had the iron.
Well, y'all had the iron.
Yeah,
iron wasn't going to do nothing if we had the people and the agriculture. Y'all was gonna run out of food some point. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I'm just throwing one in there right there, get right back at you. I mean, it's a few other things, but go ahead.
That's basically it. That was the whole premise of why all of this happened. And then for Moreno to say, white people in the Union deserve reparations, it's a tactic. I don't even believe he even believes what he said. He was just saying that to stir up PC culture, to be honest with you.
All right. Now, I'm not even going to waste time with Mark Robinson on that question, gentlemen. Now, let's flip. Let's say you were on the Dr. Phil show when the professor there from Duke brought it down with the idea of the reparations on how much, would be given to the families and all of that. All right. You already know that was Dr. Phil talking out the side of his neck. All right. Well, right. I could say other things, but we're on air. I'll be nice. Anyhow, if you were on that panel, what would you say to Dr. Phil? Go ahead, bro.
About the 14 billion thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't flame. I get this from a person I watch religiously. He says he doesn't debate black people in public unless you working for the enemy, and then you got to get humble. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't do it, because I don't think that his intention is to mislead people. But I'll just be like, hey, I think we need to think about this a little bit differently. It's not just about money at this point. It's about how those people lived and how we're living now. Like, we have countless stories about slavery. We bring it back to Jim Crow era and the Black Code era. We have countless stories about sharecropping and white super resistance. Then we bring it to the 80s where we have multiple stories about Black people still being lynched, but by the gun, and Black political groups getting put down. And then we bring it back to current times where we're getting shot by the police and we're still living in poverty and inner cities, and we just don't have the advantage that we should have had, given that we've built America from the ground up. So I just think money isn't the only key issue. It's social, it's environmental, it has to do with finances, and that's a lot of stuff that America at its core cannot give up, or else it won't be America anymore.
All right, your thoughts, Tim?
I agree with a lot of that. All right. I think that it's not over. If they have some kind of monetary goal, they should still be calculated, because it's still going on. You know, they're still doing things to the African American community that are hurting us, and that hasn't stopped. So they can't really, in my mind, they can't come up with a number right now until they get everything straight. Okay. And I would say that I kind of lost my train of thought.
Nah, it's okay.
Take your time,
It's okay.
brother.
You got it.
But I would say that if we did try to put a monetary value on what should be owed, I think that, you know, it's just
Go ahead, say the number. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's the price tag?
I think it may be a value to kind of tie it with the economy, so it can be ongoing. I don't like tying things to like the stock market, but that is one way that it will keep going over, you know, perpetually. It will never run out.
Oh, wow.
You know, if you tie it to the biggest companies in America, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we go down, you all go down.
You
Because
said-
if you don't have money, if you have your money tied up into like Microsoft and Tesla and all of these, you know, if we go down, everybody's going down. That's how I think we need to tie it up.
He said, as long as America is still making money, we need to be making that money. He said, we need to be the tax agency.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
We need to be the IRS.
I can agree on that. I can agree on that. Now I'm gonna go another thing just to mess with the mental a little bit. If you go back a few years, well, more than a few years now, I'm kind of showing my age. Bill Clinton did an apology tour for slavery. You know, and this may be, well, no, you would know. All right. Now, if you look at it when he did it, which was in the late 90s, all right, we were already removed from slavery, technically. What would that be, about 400 and some odd years? Correct?
About 300 something.
Some on that level. All right. Now, when countries or corporations or whatever apologize for wrongdoing, they don't take that long. You know, you cannot really see anyone that did something like that take that long. But it took that long for at least an apology for slavery. Your thoughts on that, gentlemen?
You guys know?
Well, I'm surprised he did it at all. Usually they just do it. You know what I mean?
Right. They don't say nothing about it.
Yeah. They just take it out of the history book and everybody will forget about it. You know, the fact that he did it, it might be some guilt there. I know everybody didn't agree with what he did, right?
Of course.
So I don't know. I don't actually
because
know
they
why he
really
did it.
didn't. I think they really didn't want the talk on reparations to even grow any further, because I know it sparked a lot of that talk once he did that apology tour in '98. So I think that they didn't want that to happen because they knew it would get to this point. But go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. But come on.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't know why he did it. If he couldn't back it up by anything, he didn't have any legislation that would do anything. It's just, empty to me. It was just
Empty words.
Empty
Huh?
words. Yeah.
All right.
Maybe a photo op and get him in the news again. I don't know. I don't know why he did it.
Yeah. All right. Talk to me, bro.
I think it was I think he made that apology as a strategic move to like you said, subdue Black people from going further into reparations. But also it was a signifying of the times that we were in America. I don't know what the population statistics look like as other races are compared to white people, but it had to be something close to like the tipping point. Like it's getting to that area where white people, the majority, are getting out majored. You know what I mean? So when people talk about political correctness, it's a lot of people that believe like basic respect should be given to other people on a human rights level, right? And so there's a lot of people that believe that. There's enough people to believe and influence decisions economically if someone makes the wrong move. So let's say Apple made the wrong move and says something derogatory against like the LGBT community. There is enough people to boycott Apple and make Apple a thing of the past, right? So when Bill Clinton did that apology, I think he was recognizing how many people were in the United States that were radical enough to try and make a push to change on a institutional level that would change the way that Black people live their lives in America.
Okay.
And so Bill Clinton said, how can I subdue this? Apologize.
Let me ask you one question right quick.
Come on.
Was it to help Hillary somehow, or his daughter? She might want to get into politics one day. You think it might have been to help one of them politically?
I could see that trying to be a help of Hillary,
because he kind of screwed over. He kind of screwed over Black people too, especially in like Haiti.
Yeah,
he did a lot of
he did a lot of stuff.
He got a lot of repairing of an image that he has to do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe trying to get his daughter, to be a senator or get back in office or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And then, what was it? A couple of years later, Hillary did win that New York Senate seat. So it could have been an attempt for that. They knew what they were going to do down the line. I mean, you kind of already plan certain things. So it could definitely be something of that level. All right, y'all. Now, because we're getting towards the end of the hour. Okay. But before we do, it's something that we like to do on this show, especially since you had people such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis trying to erase Black history. So what we do here, we try to always put different folks from our history out to the people so that, it won't go nowhere. Okay. So we have a Black history moment, and I'm going to speak about Mr. Abe Galloway. In 1868, North Carolina, he became a state senator. During the Civil War, he was a Union spy and a militant abolitionist. He aided in the organization of John Brown type military invasion of the Confederate States. He was also part of the group who met with Abraham Lincoln at the White House. It's more about them, folks, so make sure you Google them, look them up, understand, learn, and all that. All right, gentlemen, your final thoughts. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, on the subject of reparations, I strongly believe that it's going to take more than a check to, to give to African American families. I think it's going to take a very long term plan um, to deal with the social issues, the financial issues, and the connection between African Americans and Africa itself. I believe that we need a homeland and resources that are unlimited, and we need that connection. So until they can get all of that stuff together, I think they're just talking out of their ass. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Avion, let me hear you.
I would say that America knows what it needs to do right. And since they know what they need to do right and they haven't done it so far, they're not going to do it. So we need to do right by ourselves and fix our problems the best way we know how. We need to go to therapy, therapy should be free. You know what I mean? All that stuff we went through in slavery and then post-slavery and all of that stuff. Therapy should be free. But go get therapy, number one, and talk about your problems. Even if you don't think you got problems, you can go to a therapist for anything that happened. You had a stressful day at work. Go see therapy. Get a financial planner that'll help you plan not just for your current life, but the lives of your kids and their kids and the future generations, so that you can set up your future kids for that generational wealth that you want to see from the government, the reparations. I'm sorry, but we got to create it ourselves. All right. And lastly, just do right by your own people. Do right by your own people, and we'll push to make a good change every single day.
All right, folks, now listen up. If we want this better country, we want this better world together as one. I don't care about your race, religion, I don't care. We have to work together and build to do and give and be right all together. All right. We all know, and we could beat this like a drum. We all know slavery was wrong. Slavery is one of America's original sins. Okay, let's keep it honest. Now, how do you deal with the sin? You work on fixing it. You work on making better. All right. So saying that and being that, it's time to do better. All right. However it has to be done, let's do that and make things right for the generations behind us. This is your boy Abdul Rashid, along with these two kings, Tim Evans, Avion. This is Elevated Vibes. We'll catch you next week. Peace.